there was a way that I wanted to go about making these YouTube videos, mainly in like a sort of cinematic way that was supposed to really catch people's attention. But then I realized that my period was not going to allow me to do that. And I really still wanted to make a first video for this page, so I'm doing that now. So this is that. I have been, in all honesty, struggling to figure out how to execute certain, and also I hope that the audio isn't crap. Currently, the mic that I use for my audio is over there. I'm staring at it right now, and I did not set it up when I went to do the video because I'm currently working on ASMR and other audio related things and projects. So it's just not ready. It's not ready. So I'm gonna see if the audio is just gonna work how it is right now, because y'all, we're doing the best we can while currently getting freaking Zeus level lightning bolted in my home right now, and I'm just trying to live my life, okay? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, which most people are because it's a brand new channel, then hello, I'm 𝗏𝙗𝑚𝑖, and if you like my content, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can be notified anytime me make a video. This video today is about imposter syndrome, and for a long time I told myself that it was this weird thing of this weird Venn diagram of me both being in my present body, right, after becoming aware and at a level of consciousness where I was aware of certain habits and things that I was doing and certain practices that have gone on in my lineage for a long time, and decided to break those cycles or create new cycles more so than break the old ones, right? So I feel like to break the old ones would mean like it's just a whole different level of thinking, and as opposed to just being a new form of consciousness within your family lineage completely. So I was dealing with being in the present moment with my more quote-unquote healed self, and fighting with past me who I didn't acknowledge, or I maybe was spiritual bypassing and didn't acknowledge parts of myself that were completely opposed to this new version of myself. And so when they would come up, I'd be like, no, that's not real, you know, or I'd be like, I can just, you know, do this away. And to some extent you can if there are certain ideas, habits, or whatever that you've already feel like you've in a way conquered, and it's just a maintenance of explaining to that thought or whatever, or it's either ignoring the thought or ignoring that, you know, which comes up because you're like, I've already dealt with that, whatever. In my case, it was a thing of not dealing with the thing. I was like, no. And the thing specifically with imposter syndrome usually comes a lot of shame. And I didn't realize how much shame is something that we really don't like to look at as humans, because, I mean, even in the human experience, things that are considered to be undesirable in terms of feelings and thoughts, or anything that makes you feel in a negative way or makes you feel sad or depressed. But a lot of that suffering that comes from that is usually just not wanting to acknowledge that those things come up and those experiences happen, and it's a part of the human experience. And it's just to challenge you more so than it is to hurt you. And it's usually just to bring to your attention things that you have not dealt with on a psyche type of level or a consciousness level, and that are still bothering you. I remember watching, I can't remember what the comedian's name is. He's, I think, from like Europe or whatever. And he's talking about how a lot of the time the brain is just looking for new connotations of something, whether it be person, places, things, whatever it brings to your attention, because your senses are just gathering things constantly. So if something happens to get funneled through and you interact with it in a way that shows emotion towards it, or shows you give it any type of attention, right? You give it your awareness, then it becomes bigger than what it is, when whatever was happening at the time was probably just your brain sifting through things, and then you latched onto it when you didn't need to. So with dealing with shame and imposter syndrome, and ignoring those things, I realized that ignoring them obviously did not make the thing go away. One of the biggest things for imposter syndrome too, especially with being on the internet, I was doing that thing of like taking too much in. And I'm the type of person where I can be on the internet for, you know, periods of time, and as long as I have my way that I navigate things, so I have a way that I go about interacting with internet spaces and things now, in a more healthy relationship with the internet and with technology than I used to, because I'm more intentional with my uses of it. And before, I don't feel like I was very intentional with my uses of it. I was just kind of like being thrown into everything everywhere all the time. And I see now, especially as a creative person, you don't really want to take in too much of other people's media and content or art, whatever you want to subject yourself to, because it ends up doing this thing where it oversaturates your brain. So when you go to create projects, you're either comparing yourself to another artist's work, another content creator, or you're picking up ideas that maybe you wouldn't have, or certain things that go into your art now that you wouldn't have even noticed or done had you not looked at other people's content, you know, what have you. I say all this to say that when dealing with my personal issues of imposter syndrome and shame, and how that kind of showed up in my life, it really showed up as procrastination on a lot of the things that I wanted to get done in my creative endeavors. And I'm someone who creates all the time, so it's not a thing of me being stuck in a funk. It's more of a thing of me talking myself out of bigger projects or other things that I've really wanted to do for a long time, due to simple reasons, or due to things that I told myself were a problem that I probably wasn't even a problem. It was just a way for me to get out of doing said thing, right? So I decided that instead of trying to make things perfect, because one of the biggest things with my shame and how my imposter syndrome shows up in my life is, I can tell myself that if I don't do something that's perfect, or if I don't make a product that is, you know, and when it comes to the video medium, cinematically amazing, then no one's going to want to see it, in the content or whatever I'm putting out isn't good enough, and therefore it won't pick up views. And then I realized, I was like, I'm not really doing it for views. I'm doing it for self gratification, and I'm doing it to validate myself in a way, not to necessarily put out, like, obviously I want people to like it, but if you don't, look, y'all, I'm gonna be quite honest with y'all. I have been black. I've been queer. I have been this person living in this type of body, covered in tattoos. I have face tattoos, if you can't tell, because can you tell? Is it focusing? I can't tell. But regardless, if you go to my social media, I have been this type of creative individual, creature for a very long time. It's no skin off my nose, y'all don't like me, but psychologically dealing with certain things and stressors from my childhood trauma, and then having that rolled up into growing up and not dealing with them, certain little aspects that I just hadn't brought to the conscious level, or to my conscious awareness. Into my conscious awareness. You know, it manifests in different ways. But anyways, I say all this to say that if you're dealing with shame or imposter syndrome, and you are a creative person and you want to make things, make YouTube videos, whatever it is, please just make them. And the more you make them, the more ideas you get. That's why I say, like, it's not always good. It's good to have a healthy relationship with social media, and to have intention when doing certain things with social media, or with anything in your life. Like, have some type of intention behind it, or else, what is it? It reminds me of Letterkenny. For all my Letterkenny heads out there, you already my best friend. You should subscribe, like, and hit the notification button if you fucks with Letterkenny, because that means we already eye to eye right there. But if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. So know what you stand for. Be an intentional being, and do things with a level of awareness so that you can get a better outcome. You can lead things in a way that gets you in more intentional spaces and more intentional results. But yeah, with dealing with shame and imposter syndrome and somehow that manifests in my life personally, I've just decided to give up on perfectionism, which is really hard with my Virgo placements, y'all. Like, I want everything to be perfect that I do. And you'll probably notice that all over my social media. Like, if it's not, like, it's cohesive to me because I know my vision, but like, if it's not cohesive in a way that I'm like, yeah, then it's just annoying. And it's not necessarily for anybody else's viewing potential. Is for me. If it's not to a certain level of degree of perfection for myself or what I have made up in my mind, then I sometimes can sabotage myself in certain ways. So I've decided to not do that by just doing the thing, and we'll see how that goes.